All right, guys, that was Triply Billion Years. I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, how come some people are delivered and some people aren't? Okay, specifically, let's talk about homosexuality. I'm talking about this so much, guys, just because I just wrote this book and I just really think that this is an important topic. And so many times we push certain things aside because we don't get it, or we just maybe we just don't agree. But let me tell you something. God did it for me. He can do it for you. He can do it for other people who are struggling with this thing, or maybe just don't even have a correct theology when it comes to it. Like, what does the Bible say about deliverance? What does the Bible say about struggling with sin or whatever strongholds that people have? Why are some people delivered from homosexuality and other people aren't? What's up with that? Um, and the world screams so loud, deliverance is not possible, change is not possible, and it seems to be just a select few who say, yeah, God did it for me, you know? And I can speak on both sides of that equation. Growing up, there was a time in my life, and I think many of us kind of feel this way in the beginning. It's you're crying out to God, God, deliver me from this thing. I want to not feel like this. I don't want to be like this. And then eventually we come to a place where we embrace that same-sex attraction because we cannot change it on our own. We feel as though we're born this way, so we just let it go. Maybe we embrace gay theology to make us feel better, which is basically just taking the word of God and twisting it to fit our lifestyle and our understanding so we feel good about ourselves. We feel good about being Christian and homosexual, but we can't twist theology. So what's the difference between the two? When I was younger and I cried out to God and said, God, deliver me from homosexuality. I want to stop having these same-sex attractions. I didn't realize it then, but now looking back, I wasn't all in. Yes, with all of my heart, I prayed to God and I said, God, take this thing from me, but don't take away the other things that I like to indulge in. Homosexuality is not the big sin that we're necessarily struggling with. There's so many things. I always say, whenever I have people I counsel, I always say, imagine a tree, okay? Imagine a tree, and on the tree there's a whole bunch of fruit, okay? We look at this one fruit called homosexuality, and we're like, God, take it off, take it off, take it off, take it off. And we spend so much time trying to pluck that one thing off, but if a tree still has its roots, it'll grow back. That thing will grow back every single time, and that's where so many people in the homosexual community just end up being suicidal and just depressed and, God, why aren't you doing this in my life? And I get it because I've been there, you know? I have been there and I have shed the tears and I have been frustrated. God, why aren't you showing up in my life? But I didn't want him to touch the other fruits on my tree. I didn't want him to mess with the other sins or things that I was doing or dealing with that I enjoyed. It all comes down to the motives of the heart. If you are lukewarm with wanting deliverance, I mean, I do want it, but I kind of don't because I still enjoy it. That's where the problem comes in. And it's not to say that God won't do it, because he can and he will, and he did it for me. But when I got to a place where I was all in, I mean all in for God, God, I am done doing life my way. I am done trying to heal myself, be my own God, find my own happiness. I need you. And if that means taking homosexuality away from me, I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't like guys. I don't think this is going to work. But you know what? Like, I'm all in because I'm tired of trying. God steps in. Where's your heart? We have to do a heart check. And Christians, Let me tell you something. Just because you have not dealt with this thing doesn't mean that you could twist the word of God and say it must be okay. Because someone else can't change it because that's what people say. Well, then you know what? It must be okay, so I'll just go with the flow because God's a good God. We can't pick and choose what part of the buffet we want to eat. We got to take all of it in. And I spent so much time telling people growing up, I was born this way. Spent so much time growing up crying to people just how difficult it is. Who wakes up and says, I want to be gay, I want to be a lesbian? No one does. No one does. But it's something that Satan attaches different things to us, whether it's a generational curse or just something that he just attaches to us as a proclivity that we have towards that thing. Whatever it is, we have to know that, okay, if I give it all to God, he can change it. But if I'm not all in, I'm not giving him the authority in my life to do what I know he can do. I hope that makes sense. Because the word of God is unchanging, and it's love that just changes those things in people's hearts, and it's love that just invades people's hearts and begins to just melt away people's understanding and the false identity that we find in the world, just trying to find love and affection in other places that's not God. And just because we can't see that, just because our eyes are just closed off to the things of God, to the truths of God, doesn't mean that those things aren't possible. Deliverance is possible. Wholeness is possible. But we have to believe that. We have to get to a place where we're all in for God and just let him do that thing in our lives. All right, guys. Nobody Like You by Planet Shakers. If you're interested in getting my book, please check it out at Amazon, or you can go to Barnes & Nobles and check it out. It's called An Unconventional Love Letter to the LGBTQ Community by myself, Jessica Newsome. An Unconventional Love Letter to the LGBTQ Community. I love you guys.